Okay, so you saw me do these. The teardrop, or the dewdrop, water droplet, whatever you want to call it, method. I did trays and coasters. I have another video coming up that is keychains. That won't be until April though. And the question is, can this translate onto a tumbler? Now, to do it on a tumbler without some kind of other medium first would make it more an embossed image than the actual, you know, concave water droplets at the end product. So I think I found an end around to this. It's going to be a long process. Like, there's going to be a lot of steps. Some of them might not be 100% necessary, but because of the way I'm going to do this, the water drops are just going to be the tumbler itself. It's not going to cover the base or anything. So I'm going to first, I'm going to do the tack it method on the tumbler with a Chameleon mica, and then I'm going to use a different Chameleon mica for the next step. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my watered down tack it over and over all over the tumbler. This tumbler doesn't look great. My black spray paint kind of blew up on me, so it's all over my hands, everything. But and I'm just going to do one coat of the tack it. I'm not going to bother with the second coat, because if I still have some black under here, I think it'll be okay. I don't think doing tack it on the entire tumbler will be detrimental to the end result, but this end result could be absolute trash anyways. So this is a complete trial and error process. Okay, so that is good. I'm going to set this aside to dry, which should give me just about the right amount of time to work on the next part, which you guys are going to have to bear with me. It's going to seem absolutely insane what I'm going to do, but I have a semi-well-loved Cricut mat because I need something to hold this down. This is clear 651 vinyl, and I need it to hold down because I don't want to have to touch the sticky part of the vinyl at any point in this process. So I am hoping that this will relax enough to stay stuck and that I will be able to get it back off without popping up all of my little dots of UV resin. So I cut this to, I can see it's a little off once I put it on that grid line, but we're not going to worry about it. I cut this to 9 1/4 by 8 inches, hoping that that's going to be like, I should have wrapped it on the tumbler to start, but that's neither here nor there and too late now. But in hopes that it'll be a good fit without going over any of the curve or anything, that it'll fit. It's not going to be flat because the whole process isn't a flat process. So I'm going to press that out again because I did just lift some bubbles into it. And I'm not sure with the end result if it's really going to make that much of a difference, but the smoother it is to start, the better, I suspect. So I have my UV nail lamp ready, and this part of the process is going to be somewhat long and tedious, but I'm not going to do huge water drops like I did. Like, these are enormous. This was my second go around, much smaller. So you can see the difference. I love both. They both look great. And I'm going to use my Let's Resin UV resin. I'm going to put some in the medicine cup. It's easier to work with that way when you want smaller drops. I'm only going to start with a little because the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start curing one corner as I work. So, and this is going to be really hard to see on the clear vinyl. It's also going to be really hard for me not to touch the vinyl. But I'm just going to start dipping and dotting. You can do them whatever size you like, as many as you like. When I said doing it directly on the tumbler would make it more of an embossed effect, that opened up a bunch of other ideas in my head. Be ready for some other experimenting and interesting things coming soon, hopefully. I haven't really played lately or done anything out of the ordinary, so I'm actually kind of excited to what this may have opened up in my head. I can't really tell. I think I'm on this white line is where my top is. So, and some of my dots might not be perfect. Some might be bigger than others. And I've said it before, my brain does not do random very well, so that's going to be something we have to overcome. Try not to get your stuff near your lamp or it will start curing when you don't want it to. You can actually reach right under and work. So, I obviously still have a lot to do, but I'm just going to bring it up so you can actually see what's going on. So I'm going to keep working on this and fill my entire rectangle and get it really well cured. Okay, so I moved my mat out of the way for now. I'm going to do the cup itself. That's a grape. That one's the teal. I want the blue. I'm using the Let's Resin Chameleon micas. Olive. There's the blue. So I'm going to use the blue and the teal. And it occurred to me that I'm making my vinyl thicker, so my wrap might not quite be big enough, which I was concerned about, which is part of why I wanted to mica the cup first as well. Right or wrong, who the hell knows? I'm going to put gloves on because I'm already covered in mica. So my tacket is done doing its thing. I'm going to use this brush that I used before. It's already got some chameleon in it, but so if we get like a two-tone, we get like a two-tone. I'm just going to brush it on. This is mostly just because I wanted my top rim, my bottom rim, anywhere I might end up with a seam, and my whole bottom I wanted with mica. And I may actually mix a little bit of the teal into the bottom. I should have thought of that before I went that far, but that's okay. I'm going to burnish this layer a little bit Okay. So, that's the cup. I'm going to bring this back in. We're going to do the same thing to this vinyl. And yes, I'm going to pull some of the blue off the brush. The Chameleon may not stick to your dots. Don't worry about it. In this case, that blue will show through. And again, don't use your favorite matte because you can see what's going to happen here. If you've watched me do one of the cellophane mermaid type tumblers, this is going to go on pretty similarly to that. It's going to go on a thick epoxy that's semi-set. And hopefully it's going to go smoothly. It's going to be messy. Now, this is the scary part. I have to get this off of here without losing my dots or pulling my mica back off. So I'm going to do the pull it from the back. It shouldn't be sticky, so it should not stick to this paper. So again, a used mat, not your favorite mat, not your best mat, not your worst mat. This I'll keep in case we do this again. I always use my old mats for multiple other uses. So, and these dots don't seem to be going anywhere, so I am pretty pleased with that, because sometimes on the silicone molds, they just fall right out. So, I will be back. I will be back over by the turner when it is time to get this onto the cup. Okay, my epoxy has been sitting for about, I'm going on 15 minutes now. It is starting to get warm in the cup, so I do want to get it on the tumbler before it flash cures in the cup. And I do want a fairly thick coat. This is terribly uneven, I see. Yeah, it's starting to thicken as I spread, so I'm gonna have to move. Okay, so I am going to take this glove off and put a different one on, because I don't want to contaminate the outside of the vinyl too much. And I am going to have my hands all over it. So I'm going to give it just a super quick torch. So I'm going to turn the spin off for a second. And we are going to drop this into that hopefully semi-thick vinyl. And this is actually going to be a little bit long, which is going to be a bit of a problem. I'd actually rather have to trim up the top than the bottom. So I'm going to slide it up over the rim, because it'll actually be easier to cut down the top. I'm going to let it turn a second until it's a little more wrinklier than I imagined it would be, unfortunately. If I pull it, my sizing is almost perfect. This actually looks really cool. It's probably harder for you to see than me. I'm gonna grab my mica real quick. That teal. Oh, I feel like I'm wasting gloves like crazy on this process. And I don't have any, you know what? I have all those crappy ones. I have all these super chintzy ones. That'll work. I like cheap gloves you'd get at a gas station to take something out of the bakery case. I don't even think that's gonna work. I thought that I had some finger cots in here, but this brush has had alcohol ink all over it, so. Whoops. I just want to brush the matching Chameleon along the gap. But I am probably going to let this spin for another like 15 or 20 minutes and then come back in with another pair of gloves and press the whole thing down again just to make sure it's really adhered, to make sure my seam's not lifting. But yeah, if that's not a dewdrop method, water droplet method on a tumbler, then give me some other suggestions on how we can make it work. But I will be back. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Focus. Yes, it does have that like wrinkly look, but it's not nearly as textured as I expected it to be. Could be worse. I think next go round I would, and it's going to take me twice as long to put the bubbles on, but I think I would try and spread them a little bit more so they were flatter maybe. I think that might help. I also have in my head like a different way of applying the vinyl to the cup, which is going to be twice as messy but might keep it smoother. I'm obsessed and just thinking about different ways of doing this already. It's probably going to need 2 more coats regardless to be completely smooth and level. That is the problem with doing any of this stuff, like where you put the cellophane on and stuff, is they do get a bit thicker. So I will be back. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up. It's, again, absolutely not perfect, but I'm still going to follow through and finish this. So I'm going to use this decal, the Mom. It's a VC from Butterfly Lane Design, so I'm going to trim off the excess. I'm pretty happy with that. Is it perfectly smooth? No, but hopefully that's not going to hurt my decal. So I'm going to try and get this straight. Come down a little bit, because I get one chance at this. If this isn't straight enough, I'm done. So she's on there. And I cut from some of the metallics from the heat transfer source order that I got a bunch of close enough to matching images. And I cut a set of moon phases in the yellow that I think I'm going to try and put on the seam, because it's not terrible where I filled it in, but this will cover some of that. So I'm going to try this not so sticky transfer tape I have. So I'm going to turn it back around, and I am just going to start layering this stuff together. Like I said, I think it'll be easiest just to peel and stick. I don't think I want to put any at the top because I think that's going to take it too far. I may just fill in a little bit more around the back with the last of the flowers. I just feel like it's going to get too busy. The top's just going to be what it's going to be. I don't really think I want to put any more flowers around the bottom either. So I think we're going to call it good, and we're going to mix up some epoxy and get our final coat on this. But I think she's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy overall. Okay, so we're going to get the final coat on this. When I put this on, it stopped seam side this way, and I decided to put just 2 little vinyl decals here to kind of finish off the seam a little bit more. But other than that, it's how I left it with you. I may end up sanding the rim back after this coat and then putting one more coat on. I'm really not happy with how I cut the top, but it is too late now. Next one I will definitely measure a little shorter and do slightly differently. I'd like to, on the next one, lay this whole piece on a silicone mat and put epoxy on the back of that as well as the cup, and let it thicken up a little bit and then put the two together. It's going to make a much thicker layer between, but I think it'll help it lay flatter. So I'm going to have to see if I have like a brand new clean silicone mat that I can do that on. Even one of the Dollar Tree cutting boards, as long as it's new and clean, would be fine. Just something that has no contaminants on it to begin with. But I think if the epoxy was a little thicker going together, it would have worked better and kept the whole vinyl smoother. I mean, I could be wrong. I could just be the same. But I think that's what I'm going to try next, because I am definitely trying this again very, very soon, because I am in love with the outcome of this. I don't even mind the ripples. It's like raindrops landing on a puddle and creating waves. I am so happy with this cup. You would not believe overall. But no, it is not perfect. And I'm hoping none of these little vinyls lift. So I'm going to let this dry, and I think I'll be pretty much done with it. Other than, like I said, if I sand the rim back, I'll just do that with my flat wheel on my Dremel tool and reveal a little bit of a silver stripe. You've seen me do that before, so I'm not going to worry about including that in this video. But that is it for now. I'm going to torch it quick. I know this video got long. I haven't even edited it yet, obviously, but I know it's going to be longer than I've been lately, but there was just a lot to this, and it was all new to all of us, so it had to be a little long. I do have a little piece of blue vinyl lifting that I actually just singed with my torch. That's okay. These things happen sometimes. Yeah, I made it worse actually where I singed the edge. So I may push that back down in a little bit. But here we go. A water drop technique. Oh, look, my green one's curling up too. This vinyl may not like to go directly under epoxy. But there's that really cool decal from Jeff's at Butterfly Lane Designs. And my now messy decals. The bottom ones are all laying flat though. These I'm going to have to put a glove on and push back down a couple of them. Some are staying perfect, some are not. Probably should have tried to handle them a little bit less. But overall, we're here for the technique, not the final product. And I think that the technique is pretty cool. And the final product is pretty cool. So that is it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.